Hiking through Victoria's high country, Cass Fleming is a long way from her desk in Melbourne, where she works in IT. Today, Cass is on the hunt for sambar deer.
It's got some deer poo here. You can sometimes tell the age of the poo, depending on how dry it is, but we had a lot of rain last night, so I wouldn't try and guess. I feel like I'm not quite seasoned enough to be an expert just yet on this.
Cass is one of a growing number of people from the city learning to hunt deer.
So I'd been doing long-range rifle shooting, which I really enjoyed. I enjoyed the precision that it takes and the patience that you need to have to get an accurate shot from quite a distance. Around the same time, I was thinking about supply chain of food and where our meat comes from. And I became more aware of the fact that we have access to deer in our forests where we can go and get sustainably sourced wild meat.
For Cass, there's pride in killing her own meat.
I like knowing that some of my meat comes from the bush, from an animal that lives a life in paradise. I mean, the bush is amazing, so it goes from having that peaceful existence to making its way to my freezer with very little trauma. Can't see anything. There was, every now and then there's a little bit of movement, but I can't see any deer at the moment.
Today, Cass will be going home empty-handed, but it doesn't matter.
I've always loved the bush, so it makes sense to me to spend more time in my favourite place, and also if I can at the same time source some really delicious fresh meat, then that's a real bonus.
To learn how to hunt deer, Cass signed up for a course at Wally Chang's farm. He's an IT professional as well, whose life took an unusual turn a few years ago. He bought 200 hectares of land about 100 kilometres northeast of Melbourne. He wanted to become self-sufficient, which included learning to hunt.
When I turned 40, I wanted to have a lifestyle where I wanted to learn new things with my life. But all my skills are in the IT field, very virtual skills. So give me a computer, I can do anything. But outside of that, I don't know how to feed myself, I don't know how to cook, I don't know how to grow my own veggies. And that's why I thought I'll learn the best if I throw myself in the big deep end.
Wally says there's a lot of good things about hunting.
Besides saving money with acquiring your own meat, you also get better quality meat. For me, as a male, I would say to be able to provide for your family, like, hey, this is something, and when you give things out to your friends and family, I shot this deer. It's like a story to tell. And I think that's the thing that's missing in today's world.
Hunting has also brought Wally a new community, and he now hosts rifle and bow hunting courses on his farm. The rifle courses are run by Pete Christian. Born and bred in the high country, Pete has been teaching hunter education for nearly 40 years and also guided hunts for new hunters.
I was taking people and through the hunter education, taking people and showing them how to hunt. And I thought, well, bugger this, I'll put some money down. I'll start charging for it. And it's just got busier and busier and busier. The sun's going to come up here.
Over the years, Pete has seen hunting change. Hunters used to be just locals continuing a family tradition.
Since COVID, a lot of the people that are coming are young guys with young families. And all of a sudden there's nothing in the supermarket. Oh, how am I going to feed my family if this happens again? So they've come to me and learn how to kill an animal, butcher it, cook it. Yeah, there's people coming from all over Australia, yeah. It's not just the country rednecks. It's a real wide section of the community.
Deer were released in Victoria as game animals in the early years of European settlement. It's now estimated there are between a few 100,000 and 1 million wild deer in the state. And that's bad news for the environment and farms. Ross Roycroft has spent all of his 86 years on this farm near Flowerdale, about 100 kilometres northeast of Melbourne. He's retired but still runs some beef cattle. As a child, he never saw a deer. But now they're a common sight around his home.
Come on. The first deer was probably about 50 years ago. Become a major problem.
Tell me why.
Well, the boundary of our place is water catchment, and the deer in there just come out to feed in the farms, and you could some nights go out and you could put a spotlight on and you'd see 15 to 20 deer. So you can imagine they eat as much as a cow.
The animals add to the grazing pressure on his land. Deer will also charge and break fences when they're startled.
That's the other end of it that they broke. And the deer, I'd say a deer or a very large kangaroo's run into that and bends it over. That's happened 2 days ago.
Ross lets hunters onto his property to try and keep numbers down, but only people he trusts, because he's had trouble with irresponsible shooters in the past.
They drive along the road, spotlight into the paddocks, see shiny eye, bang. Don't even know whether it was a deer or a cow. And I have lost 3 cattle that way.
For Wally Chang, who is Ross's neighbour, such stories helped motivate his hunter education courses.
There's always a saying that the minority ruins it for the majority. Right? And then what they're talking about is maybe the young hunters where, because they don't know any better, they just go out there and all guns blazing, or they didn't understand the ethics of hunting, or even the etiquette with the farmers. And I think that's the reason why we created the hunting workshops and courses to teach these people a better way, and to teach them about nature, teach them about the animal behaviours, what tools to use. Yeah, and hopefully they don't go down I always call it the dark path, right, where they become poachers and do illegal activities.
On the crest, just above the green.
Hunters often cite their part in pest control to gain public support.
What a tease.
The Victorian government says recreational hunting hasn't been effective in preventing deer population growth or their spread into new areas. It has a strategy to control deer numbers, but it's not considered feasible to try for eradication. But control measures, especially aerial culling, are often condemned by hunters.
One of the issues with the way that we manage deer in Victoria is that they're a pest, but they're a game animal. They're food, but we want to get rid of them. They're troubling our agricultural industry, but they're an animal that we need to value. And so what do we do with them? And everyone has different opinions, and no one can really agree.
So this deer is really special because...
Chris Waters is a self-made poster boy for Victoria's new hunting scene. He started a hunting club and hosts his own hunting show on YouTube. Chris butchers and eats venison he's killed.
As the movement towards harvesting and ethically hunting animals as a source of food, but also engaging with them in a respectful way, as that movement gains traction, I think that the preconception of what a hunter is will start to soften. The modern hunter is actually someone who's trying to live in the 2 spheres. They're trying to live in the city, they're trying to have the job, the 9 to 5, have the partner, the kids, the house, the car, but they understand some of the things that are dangerous about that lifestyle, and so they're trying to offset that with some wholesome activities like hunting.
He believes the interest in sourcing wild game meat, along with the camaraderie and joy of being in the outdoors, will ensure recreational hunting has a strong future.
Cheese ready? For me, it's always been about food. I won't ever go out and just shoot something for fun. Hey, I'll take that. But when you overcome the odds and you do manage to do something that's quite difficult, and then you feel that satisfaction of being able to provide for your family, it's hard to deny that feels good.
Enjoy.